Dead men tell no tales, but their ships speak volumes. Welcome to the Cursed Compass, where we explore the darkest maritime mysteries. It is the dead of winter, December 4th, 1948. The steamer SS Huangpu is navigating the freezing, fog-choked mouth of the Huangpu River. The water is pitch black. Suddenly, the crew spots a faint red glow reflecting off the ice, an emergency flare. As the Huangpu inches forward, a terrifying silhouette emerges from the mist. It's the upper masts and smokestack of a sunken ship, protruding from the shallow water. Clinging to that exposed steel are hundreds of silent people, trapped waist-deep in the freezing river. But the survivors aren't screaming for help. Instead, an officer clinging to the wreck is urgently whispering commands, telling everyone to keep quiet. He is terrified that if the rescue ship realizes just how many desperate people are in the water, the crew will panic and abandon them. The submerged tomb beneath them is the SS Kiangya, and while hundreds are freezing on the surface, thousands more are already entombed in the pitch-black steel holds directly below. This chilling midnight discovery was the climax of the world's second deadliest peacetime maritime disaster. It was a mass casualty event so sudden that it birthed ghost stories that haunt the Yangtze River to this day. To understand how thousands of people ended up on that sinking hull, we have to rewind. By late 1948, the Chinese Civil War is reaching its boiling point. Communist forces are rapidly advancing, pushing the nationalist Kuomintang government and millions of terrified civilians to the brink. In Shanghai, society is collapsing. Hyperinflation makes paper money worthless. People mass in the streets, desperate to pull whatever value they can from the banks. Winter exposure and starvation are already leaving bodies on the sidewalks, and the front lines are closing in fast. For those looking to flee south, the SS Kiangya represents a lifeline. The ship's history was defined by the regional wars. Originally built in Japan in 1939 as the Xingya Maru, it was handed over to the Chinese nationalists as reparations after World War II. By early December, the Shilupu dock in Shanghai is a scene of absolute chaos. Terrified refugees, wealthy businessmen, and retreating soldiers swarm the pier. They bypass ticketing completely, bribing boatmen and throwing themselves onto the decks of any departing vessel. This chart compares the ship's safe limit against the numbers recorded that night. The Kiangya was designed to carry a maximum of 1,186 passengers, yet the official manifest recorded 2,150, nearly double the legal capacity. But the paperwork completely missed the hidden stowaways. In reality, more than 4,000 people were crammed aboard. The Kiangya's final departure was not a standard transit route. It was an unregulated, panic-driven exodus. The primal human instinct to survive the incoming army completely erased any concern for basic maritime safety laws. The ship pushes out into the Huangpu River shortly after dark. Conditions are miserable. Thousands of people are huddled together, trying to sleep on the open decks and narrow gangways, completely exposed to the freezing winter air. But the cold is the least of their problems. The waters at the mouth of the Yangtze River hide a lingering, lethal threat. Thousands of submerged naval mines, dropped by American and Japanese forces during World War II, were never cleared from the shipping lanes. At roughly 6:30 p.m., the Kiangya finds one of them. The impact triggers a massive detonation that completely shreds the stern of the ship. The explosion severs the propeller shaft and cuts all power instantly. In just 3 minutes, the steel hull plummets to the muddy riverbed. For the thousands packed tightly into the lower holds, there is zero time to escape. On the upper decks, survivors are suddenly plunged into pitch darkness and freezing water. The night is filled with the sounds of tearing metal and the desperate cries of families being ripped apart in the surge. In those 3 minutes, a frantic escape route turned into an inescapable trap. It was the fatal intersection of wartime desperation, severe overcrowding, and a forgotten explosive relic. When vessels like the SS Malé finally arrive in the dark hours of the morning, the rescue operations are agonizing. They only manage to pull between 700 and 1,000 freezing survivors from the upper wreckage. The remaining passengers are lost to the river. Estimates place the final death toll somewhere between 2,750 and 4,000 people, a loss of life surpassed by very few disasters in maritime history. By dawn, the reality of the event washes up on the shores of Shanghai. Ambulances and hearses carry soaked, frozen bodies through the exact same streets where thousands of other citizens are still frantically trying to evacuate. The scale and suddenness of the disaster left a deep psychological scar on the local population. When a mass casualty event leaves that many missing without graves, the trauma tends to pave the way for something else: folklore. In the years following the disaster, chilling stories began to spread. Fishermen navigating the river fog saw a fully illuminated steamer, crowded with passengers, gliding silently toward them, only to vanish completely as they drew near. River dwellers spoke of hearing phantom footsteps splashing across the water in the dead of night, accompanied by echoing wails and desperate voices searching for loved ones. The physical history of the ship takes an even stranger turn in the late 1950s. The new government raised the wreckage from the riverbed and refurbished the hull and put it right back into service as a passenger ferry named Dongfang Hang 8, which operated until 1983. The physical steel of the ship was salvaged and reused, but the 4,000 souls that went down with her were never recovered. To this day, the phantom echoes of the SS Kiangya remain a permanent reminder of the costs of the Civil War.